Hello, hello, everybody. It's great to see you. Thank you for coming today and for spending your Friday afternoon with us. Or I guess in some places it's already the weekend. We will just wait a few minutes here for Lucy to get here. We are so excited to talk to you guys about Twitter today. Everybody who knows me knows that's like one of my favorite topics in the whole world. All right, she will be here any minute. Oh, John McCormack. I'm excited to see you without a hat. Yeah, no hat today. It's hot. It's hot here in Atlanta. It's in the 80s today. Yeah, no hats, definitely. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. This is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be talking about how to create a Twitter content strategy for your business. So it's going to be very good stuff here. Oh, hello, Ross. Great to see you. So happy you're here. It's amazing to see you. Thank you. Yeah, we have to have you in here, in this blab, in just a little while. Definitely. And Lucy will be here any moment. She is like the perfect person, too, to talk about Twitter. I have known Lucy on Twitter for years, and we've never talked before, like face-to-face. So this is going to be really special. I see we have lots of people in here too today. Lots of people want to know about Twitter. And I guess I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Diana Adams. I'm at Adams Consulting on Twitter. And I've pretty much been a staple on Twitter since the beginning, or March, I guess it was March 9th. I remember that day, actually, of 2009. And let me look at how many tweets I've sent, because it's a lot. Oh, only 161,000 tweets. So how many have you sent, Ross? I need to look at your page. Some of us old, I call us old timers on Twitter. We've sent a lot of tweets. Hi, Phyllis. Thank you so much for saying that about Post Planner. We appreciate that very much. We truly appreciate your kind words. So I'll just go ahead and get this started, and I know Lucy will be here in just a minute. So today we're going to be talking about how to create a Twitter content strategy for your business. And this is a topic that, oh, hi, Ross. Ross Brand is here. This is a topic that we actually get asked about a lot at Post Planner because, people will say to us, well, how do I get more Twitter engagement? How do I get noticed in that Twitter, in the stream of tweets? How do I get people to respond to my tweets? How, people will say, I feel like nobody's paying attention. And if you've ever felt that way on Twitter, that's what we are going to change today. We are going to show you how to put together a Twitter content strategy that resonates with your audience so that you can start feeling, start building those relationships and start, really doing the networking that you want to do on Twitter. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I guess the first thing that oh, there's Lucy. Yay. This is our guest popping in. Lucy,
how are you?
Is that you? Oh, my goodness.
I'm having computer issues all of a sudden.
Oh, no. You can't have computer issues when we're on Blab. You just need to tell your computer to behave.
Right? Stupid technology.
Oh, It's so great to see you after all these years, to finally get to see you face to face. This is so special.
This is like the coolest thing ever. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are very welcome. And someday we're going to have a blab where we can just gab it up like girls, right?
Totally.
That won't be today's blab. That won't be today, but we are going to have to plan something like that so that we can We can have a good time. So, oh, and I see Nika Stewart is here. Oh, this is such a fun day. So many special people.
Oh my God,
yes, and
so
Ross
fun.
is here.
Hi, Ross.
Exactly. So again, we are here to talk about how to create a Twitter content strategy for your business. And we're going to go ahead and get into the nuts and bolts of this. But before we do, let me do a proper introduction for Lucy. Lucy has been in marketing in PR for, forever, right? 18 years. Is that right?
That makes me sound so old.
Oh, no. And she has put together marketing strategies for some really big companies. Red Bull North America, I think, is on the list.
Yeah.
Coconut Water, Ethos Water, some really big names. You've worked with some pretty big companies. And now she is the founder of, now I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, RK?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Oh, okay.
Totally.
RK PR. She's PR. She puts together social media strategies for small businesses and startups. So, and if you don't follow her on Twitter, you have to follow Lucy because and it's the same username on Twitter. She is on Twitter all the time. I was talking about how I've sent 161,000 tweets. You've sent like 35,000. That's pretty impressive.
It's so funny because my personal Twitter, when I first started, it was a brand and I thought it was my personal Twitter. So that probably had way more, but yeah, it's so funny to think like 35,000. I'm like, there's way more than that.
I know. And the time goes by so fast, doesn't it?
It flies by.
It goes by so fast on Twitter. And actually, Rebecca Radice and I were on Blab yesterday, and we were talking about how special the relationships are that we have built on Twitter over the years. It's just such a special place. It's up there. Twitter and Instagram. Those are my favorite ones.
Mine too.
Yes. Oh, that's great. That's great. Too. So when you are a business and you're out there, and like I said, you're trying to get noticed in that Twitter newsfeed and you're trying to get people to reply to your tweets and increase that engagement, it can be tough. It really can. And one thing that we've been talking about a lot at Post Planner, just as a team, is we've been talking about getting back to the basics, getting back to make sure that that solid foundation is there so that we can keep the momentum going. And on Twitter, that really comes back to content. Would you agree, Lucy?
I do. And I love that you said that about getting back to basics, because I feel like, especially nowadays, people are trying to like reinvent the basics and rename them to call it something new so that they can kind of own it. But it's so true. If you just get back to such simple foundation.
Exactly. And on Twitter, it comes down to what you are sending out in those tweets. Is that resonating with your audience? Is that inspiring them enough to take action or engage with you? So it's a big deal. And sometimes people will say, well, why exactly is coming up with an actual content strategy so important? But I think it kind of goes back to your Twitter goals, right? What are your goals? What are you wanting people to do? What is the purpose of being on there in the first place, right? And then you you kind of follow the steps there. Is your content doing that job? Is it performing or is it not? So I want you to speak to that for just a moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I know in my head when I say things like this, it sounds marketery or jaded, but it's so true in that even your good morning tweet is kind of calculated. It's knowing that everything that you put out there needs to feed back to what you're looking for. And I think that's why Twitter especially is one of the best platforms, because it allows you that constant feedback. You don't need to go into analytics are great, but you can get that feedback with every post that you put out and every post that you read to see what's working and what's not, and I think it starts, like you said, it absolutely starts with what's your goal and then how are you going to get there? You take your goal and then you start to build that community to, either teach you something or get you to join, to be part of people who will make your community bigger and broader. And that's, you know, and it's what you make it, you know, it's how you choose to grow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. So let's just say that there is someone here on this blab today. They're a small business owner, maybe social media marketer, startup founder, and they say, okay, my content on Twitter is not working right now. I want to put together an effective content strategy. I know what my goals are. Okay, this person knows what their goals are. Maybe it is to get more leads on Twitter, to drive traffic to their website, to build a community, to build brand awareness, whatever it is. Then what is the next step that they take? What is the next thing that business needs to do to put that strategy, to formulate that?
I would say start studying, you know, take some keywords around your industry, around your product, and start looking up those keywords to see what people are already talking about. What are people saying? What are they asking? What are they looking to competitors or to people who are similar? What are they looking to them to learn? And then you see how you can seamlessly fit into their lives with your content. You know, you want people to make your brand a part of their daily life.
Yes.
Where's that hole in their lives that maybe they don't even know is there yet that you can fill, and then look to fill that. It might be something as simple as following them and just starting to engage with things that they're saying without you saying anything on your own, just to get on their radar.
That is very, very good advice. And I love what you said there about keywords. And we talk about that a lot. You can use Twitter Advanced Search to extrapolate so much information, not only about your current audience, but maybe the audience that you want, you know?
Yes. I'm actually dealing with that with a client right now, where organically this whole community built up around their product, but it's missing a huge segment that they really want to reach, and rightfully so. And it's such a learning experience of, okay, so how did this community grow that had nothing to do with what we thought the people were going to surround it? And then now, where are those people, and how can we get to where they are to get on their radar too?
Exactly. And that's where we talk about being data driven so much, you know, on almost every blab and in viral chat and on our social media boot camps. We are constantly saying be data driven in your decisions, because when you start using tools, whether it's Twitter Advanced Search, whether it's your analytics, whatever, you know, a third party tool that you're using to take a look at your audience, who are those people? Who's paying attention? And are those the people that you want? Right? Or do you want a different audience? So and like you said, you can guess about it and you can say, well, this is what I think. But until you actually look at those numbers, it's surprising, isn't it? It's very eye-opening when you actually look at data and you're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Right? And it's so funny because for so long, guessing was part of a strategy. But now there's, like you said, Twitter Advanced Search. It's a free tool. It's not taking you out of where you already are. And I feel like I would venture to say less than half the people are using it. Wouldn't you think? Don't you think that people are always so surprised at how good it is?
Yeah, I do agree with you. And same thing goes for hashtags, right? When you start researching hashtags, same thing. You can find out so much about your audience. So, okay, so let's get back kind of on track here. So we know what our Twitter goals are. We know what audience we have or what audience we want, right? We want to target. Now, here we go again with content. How do we get content ideas? How do we figure out what is working, what's not working, what we need to quit tweeting about, and what we need to tweet more about? I mean, how does a business put together a strategy like that?
So what I do when I'm putting it together is I look at everyone that starts following me as like me, the brand, everyone that starts following me, I will fall down rabbit holes anytime to look at everything else that they're sharing and things that they're liking and the kind of content that's speaking to them already. Then I know what they're interested in. So I'll start looking for themes, that it relates to either problems they're facing or things they want to know more about. And I will look and see how my product or my service or my brand can help fill those holes. And where can I jump into the conversation and join the conversation? And then I just will, and I'll ask questions. People are very willing to share and be open with you on Twitter. And
aren't they?
Are.
That's one of the special things about Twitter, because sometimes I still meet people who are a little bit nervous, right, about jumping into conversations or asking questions because they're not sure how people are going to respond. But there is part of this where you have to put yourself out there.
You do.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to just take a step out there. And you know what? Most of the time it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Either way is okay.
It is okay. And I think that a lot of times a brand doesn't want to, and I think this is changing too. I think always before, brands were scared to look like they didn't know something. Or they thought that just because they were a brand, they were the thought leader, and you're not. And it takes time to establish that thought leadership. And part of thought leadership is knowing what you don't know.
Right.
And being honest and willing to learn what you don't know. Hey, Rob.
Now, what do you think about, you talked about looking at other people's feeds, looking at the kind of content that is resonating with them. How do you feel about doing that with competitors as well? Not just people who are following you. How do you handle that?
Yeah. And, I all my brands, so the brands, my clients, I will follow their competitors, but I also do it from their own feeds. Like I also follow them as that brand. Because at the end of the day, competition, here's how I look at it. Competition and the more competitors that come into a space legitimizes that industry and it grows that space. When we were first starting with coconut water, there was like one brand out there and then another and then us. And so everyone had no idea what it was. They didn't know why they needed it. But the more there was chatter between the three brands, the more the industry itself began to grow and the more the consumer base began to grow. And so
isn't that neat how that happens?
Yeah. And it's like, your competitors' followers are probably also following you. They want to know, obviously they're already a built-in audience. They're already interested in that particular service or brand. So see what's working, do more of that. People say, Josh is here, and Josh and I talk a lot about how nothing's new. It's just you put your spin on it, and maybe you're bringing up a point that they missed. So to see what already is working is the best knowledge, I think, of what to do more of.
Exactly. And if you are unsure about how to do that, the easiest way is to look in your Twitter analytics, because it will tell you, you can look at your past 30 days. I mean, you can look, just over the next week, the past week, or you can pull up, historical information, months in the past. Look at the type of content that is resonating with your audience, because maybe it's images. Images are huge on Twitter. And sometimes I'll see a brand tweet a link to their Instagram and it doesn't get any engagement. And I'm thinking, why didn't you just take 30 extra seconds and put the link to your Instagram so people know to find you there, but put the photo in the tweet, because that's going to get you, what is the stat? I don't remember. It's like 150 times more engagement or something. But just little things like that can make such a big difference in your engagement. And when your engagement, and I can tell you that I've had a lot of engagement on Twitter. So have you, Lucy, of course.
Have.
And it's fun. Some people say, I don't get Twitter, it's not fun. So they just schedule all of their tweets and they don't spend time there because it's not fun. Well, it is fun, but you gotta build up your mojo first, right?
Totally. You know what? I think that I find that the more I engage on Twitter, the more I learn about myself, and the more you do something, the more comfortable you become, and I think that, I certainly know from 8 years on Twitter, it's changed, but it's easy to follow that change if you're engaged. And that's why I think, it's how you and I met. That's why I think Twitter chats are so important, because I feel like you said before, how people are so willing to share and to be open with you on Twitter. I feel like in chats, they're especially like that.
Okay, so this is a whole nother topic, but you are the Twitter chat queen, right? I see you on every Twitter chat. I don't know how you do it. I'm just like, Lucy, I look on your Twitter stream. I was on there today. I'm like, she's on chat after chat after chat. How do you use that to not only build your brand, but how can other people use Twitter chats to build, that content for their own page, to build their own business on Twitter?
You're never going to learn more than you do in a Twitter chat, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. More.
It's it's almost as simple as that. Here, you want to have a question answered, you can put it into your stream and hope that the people that you want to answer it will see it. You're in a Twitter chat, people are already engaged, people are already ready.
They're watching. They're watching, right?
Ross is making fun of me right now.
I see that. Yes. When you put a question, we were on Viral Chat last night. Viral Chat is the post planner Twitter, which is every single Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I was tweeting on the Viral Chat Twitter last night, and I was noticing, I put out those questions and bam, there's 10 answers. And that is amazing. And there's so many brands that want to get that kind of back and forth going, and they don't know how to do it. And Twitter chat's a very magical little subset of Twitter, isn't it?
It's so true. It's so true. And I feel like in Twitter chats, people are more helpful. They're more willing to take time with you. And the people that you meet, I host a chat too, and I'm sure because I know it's true when I'm in Viral Chat. The chat's an hour, but the chatting is so much longer after that, after people still talking. And it's great.
Even this morning, I looked at the stream and there was still tweets coming in. And somebody tweeted last night. He said, this chat never really ends.
I saw
it's
that.
Kind of it's Thursday night, and then it drops down for the other days, but then it just goes back up. It never the conversation doesn't ever really end.
I saw that, and I forgot that I don't know how I didn't respond to that, because it's so true. And it's not saying that every brand should go start a Twitter chat, but
get in the Twitter chat.
Join a Twitter chat.
Join a Twitter chat.
You can find one no matter what industry you're in, no matter what your niche, you're going to find it. And that's where, again, you say, look up the hashtags, use advanced search.
Exactly. And the key you said there is relevant. A relevant Twitter chat for your industry, because keep in mind, again, going back to your Twitter goals, what are your goals? What are you there to do? If you are, say, a social media marketer and you're getting in a food chat, well, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're probably not going to be networking with others in your industry. So yeah, pay attention to that too, right?
Totally. It's, and like you said, relevance goes, I would say that probably relevance is one of the top 3 things about putting together your content strategy. Because it's like what you said too, you can have the best ideas and the best content, but if it's not relevant to the right people at the right time, how great really is it?
Right, exactly. So I wanted to just, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 more minutes still tap into your expertise. And then I'm hoping that maybe Josh or Ross
Yeah.
or Nika or Rob will pop in and kind of give us some insight about how they have used Twitter to build their business. But um, okay, so kind of getting back to
Okay.
content. This is another thing too that a lot of people ask about. People were asking about it in our social media boot camp yesterday, and I would really like to address it here about putting together your content strategy. Some brands feel like they should only be tweeting content that is theirs, right? That is in theirs, their blog posts, their business. We do not subscribe to that philosophy.
No.
Because you know what? The people sitting behind those Twitter accounts, those are people, right? They're people. And people like to laugh. They like to see funny pictures and they like to see that you're sharing other people's content. And so will you take just a minute? Because I know you feel the same way as we do on this because I see your Twitter stream.
Yeah.
So just take a moment to talk about how your Twitter content strategy does not mean just going on your blog and choosing 20 blog posts and scheduling them. That's not a Twitter content strategy.
No, it's not.
So talk about that just for a moment.
Yeah. So when you're looking at your larger strategy, you want to attract different people. And it's like we were talking about building the community. So sharing other people's blog posts shows that it helps build the brand. So it helps build your community in that my community is going to benefit from what that other person shared. Then there are people that are going to notice that it got shared. So now my brand is going to get in front of their audience's eyes because they're going to be more likely to share that we shared. The one caveat is you don't want to just retweet or put up a post and say, from this or HT that. You always want to say why you're sharing it. And I feel like a lot of people miss that. They think
that is so key.
It is so key.
Such good advice. Like, yes.
Yeah, it's great to share other people's content. But if you share other people's content all day, A, it doesn't look like you have any original thoughts on your own. B, anybody can just regurgitate anything. And see, like,
yeah, there's the difference.
Right? What's the relevance? Like, tell them why you shared this. Show them your thought leadership and why you thought it's going to be something good that they want to read. And don't just say it.
Exactly.
Not everything you post or share is going to be a broad thing. I try to personalize everything that I'm sharing to one person. If I can speak to that one person, they're going to understand why I'm relevant to them. Then they're going to share that.
Exactly.
And that one person is really, 6 million people.
Exactly. Yeah, you put that. I love how you worded that. I agree with you completely. And I saw Ross put in here that when you share other people's content, you are secure in yourself and want to deliver value to your audience, not just selling. And that's the thing. When you share other people's content, you are showing them that you are putting the focus on your audience and like, wow, my audience could really get a lot out of this piece of content. I'm going to share it, as opposed to, it shows that you're open-minded instead of being closed. Like, no, I can't share that. I don't want to lose followers or whatever. I don't know what crazy stuff people think, but sharing content is really key. And it really does show, like Ross was saying, that you're confident in yourself, you're confident in your brand, and people will appreciate that because you will not only establish thought leadership, but you will establish your Twitter page as the go-to place, right? Because people are going to know if you see something good, you're going to share it. So they're going to pay attention to your page.
Right. And everybody likes to be acknowledged. So sharing other people's content shows, we acknowledge you, we see you, thank you for your support. And then someone else will want that same acknowledgement. And so it helps breed good feelings,
Share the love. Yeah. That's what it's called on Twitter, right?
That's all this Twitter is sharing love around.
Oh, yes. That must be why I love it so much. Okay, well, we have a caller
Yay!
here. Let me, okay.
Hey, Rob.
Here we go. Hi,
Hi.
Rob. Hi, Rob. It's great to
Yeah,
see
you too. How are you
you.
guys doing?
Good.
Oh, we're doing well. Oh, I can't believe after as many times as we've talked on Twitter that I'm like actually talking
Yeah,
to you
it's
now.
cool. It's the first time
So cool.
I've called into a
I
lab
love that.
before.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Really? Well, welcome. That's cool. That's
Sweet.
awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your Twitter. I know you've got a rockin' Twitter. Tell us a little bit about your Twitter content strategy and kind of how you approach it to build yourself, your personal or professional
It's
brand.
probably more professional brand because it's kind of a hybrid. Like, there was a point where I stopped really taking on a lot of like freelance projects as a designer because my role here at work changed to be just more mentally taxing and stuff. And the last thing I wanted to do was go home and do that. So I really focused like a lot more on, engaging within our industry. And then, which is for my work is the auto industry. I think a lot of the experience that I've gained from really engaging in the Twitter chats and stuff like that is really helped because now we're going to start our own Twitter chat for our automotive audience. And I think that's really going to be helpful to engage the influencers in that community and really play to the, we've been kind of lax in the content marketing for the last year. And as we've went through a bunch of organizational changes, and this will be a good way to get back in the game. So.
Oh, that is great news. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm not the social marketing manager here. That's somebody else's role. So, they're the one that's going to spearhead that. But like, as much support as I can give her, like great articles, resources, like you're saying, like, it's all about sharing the love, right? I've started engaging my design team, like sending them articles because they're not all on Twitter, but, articles that I get that, would be helpful for team development or, for marketing, branding, all sorts of different areas that would be relevant to their jobs.
One thing that I've noticed that I notice about you and it kind of ties into what you just said is that if you do want to connect with people on Twitter, do it before you want to ask them for a favor.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you got to build the relationship first, and then everybody wants to support everybody, right? But if you just follow somebody and send them an auto direct message that says, hey, retweet my blog post, that's a really bad first impression. What do you think about that, Rob? Why don't you talk about that?
I think that's pretty appropriate. I mean, like, you always got to be careful that you don't want to, come across as having an agenda. I mean, even if you secretly do, not that any of us do, but yeah, I think that's key. You don't want to be obviously like, oh, I just want to get my stuff out there and you're the person I can do it with. Like, no, it's like, just connect with people and be real with people. Make friends and stuff. Like, you're not going to walk up to a random person on the street and just, tell them like, oh, hey, go sell this thing for me that I'll give you, like, there's no trust there. There's no relationship there. So why do we think it's different in Twitter or anything?
We have somebody at Post who works at Post Planner, and his name is Sam. And he talks about that situation when people do that is like walking up to a complete stranger and saying, "Hey, can I have $50?"
Totally.
It just does not work. It just doesn't work. But the reason why that situation you reminded me of it is because you have built a relationship with me. So now I'm hearing about this Twitter chat that you're building, and I want to tell everybody about it. I want to share it. I want to support you because I know you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've known each other a long time. So that is the key to building those relationships, right? It's not like you're a complete stranger who's, on here pitching his chat. It doesn't come across that way at all. So
right. Well, I think it's still kind of in informative stages because, I still have I have to do the graphics for it. Since I'm the one that brought it up, naturally, I just made more work for myself. And I'm like, oh, great. I already have a full plate every day. But yeah, so when it gets to be a more, fully baked idea, then I'll let you guys know.
Good.
And my hope is that it's not going to be just specifically auto industry centric, though. Like that's our target market. That we'll be able to bring in speaker. Like you think about like people who do speakers and keynotes and stuff like that. They're not always in that industry when they come and speak, but the wisdom can translate from any industry to any.
And it's also that
true.
It also shows more like rounded view of a person. When you talk to someone, like if you and I were having dinner, okay, so I know what you do. You're in the auto and you work in the auto industry, but we're not just going to talk about that. And so it's like Diana said, Twitter's no different. You don't have to, it's not natural to just talk about that niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
kind of getting, I hate those like auto DMs so much.
Oh, that's a whole different blab. I'm not even going to get off on that tangent on this one. That's a whole different one. Completely agree with you there. So kind of getting back to our idea of content, we at Post Planner put together an infographic that has 42 engaging tweet topics on you to get you started. And it's very cool. We put our heart and soul into this one, and we put Twitter topics on this infographic that we have tested, that I've tweeted, that Post Planner has tweeted. And Leanne, can you drop that into the box there so people can click it and grab the infographic. Thank you, Nika. Nika says she loves the infographic. It's a really special one for us because we were like, okay, what can we recommend that people tweet that will help them get more followers? So this is how you use this infographic, because there's like a little system that we envision you using this for. So you've got this infographic. Then what you do is there's 42 ideas on there. Now, technically, that would take you through a whole month, and then you'd be able to start over again at the top and work through it. But what you're going to find is that some work better for your page than others. So again, you want to be data driven. So start at the top of the list. You're like, okay, this one doesn't really fit. Let me go to the next one. You work your way down. You work your tweets. So no matter what industry you're in, you can tailor them. And then check your analytics. See what resonated. And I'm telling you, there'll be some stuff on here and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I got to make sure I tweet that kind of tweet once a week, or whatever you put together. But we did this to help everybody. We're very proud of it. So get our infographic.
Awesome. And I think that another thing is like, even though something might look like it didn't work from, let's say you're doing those 42, maybe it was just the time that you did it. So
that's
so you
true.
can repurpose those 42 into like, whatever, I don't know what 3 times 42 is right now. 126. Maybe it turns into 126 because you want to test. Okay, so it didn't work when I thought most people were on, but let's try it at the next time that most people seem to be on.
Yes, that is very smart. We've actually done a lot of testing with that at Post Planner, and I know that this particular blab is about Twitter, but our Facebook page grew 193% in 2015. It's like this big deal for us. Yeah. Simply Measured put together an ebook, like this big thing. And one of the things we did last year, not only on Twitter, but it worked stupendously on Facebook, was figuring out the right times to post. So you hit that nail on the head, Lucy, because it's so important. And what we do, I'll tell you our little secret, if anybody wants to know. We post 15 minutes before the top of the hour. And the reason that works for us is because we figure on the top of the hour, because we have a global audience, right? Yeah. So we tweet around the clock. But at the top of the hour, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, wherever, that's when people have their appointments, right? Like doctor's appointment, a meeting, whatever, the conference call, and they grab their phone and they're like, oh, I'm waiting. Let me just flip through, see what's here. We want our stuff to be sitting in their feed, their Twitter stream, their Facebook feed, whatever it is. We want our post to be there. So when they pick up their phone, they're like, oh, what's this? So we send our content out just a few minutes before the top of the hour. Works flawlessly for us.
Brilliant. I mean, that is like the most brilliant. And you gave like data explanation of We can all relate to that. We're all just sitting there with our phone because we got there early and it's about to start.
Right. And you have your, one thing I heard Peg Fitzpatrick say was get in your potential customer, your new follower, get in their hand, get close to them. And what closer place than right there on the phone, right? Because people have it right there in their hand. It's like their connection to the world. So works well for us. So how about Ross? Do you want to pop in? We want you to pop in. I guess I will pop our infographic out for a minute so Ross can pop in because we really want to talk to you. Okay. There we go. Ross, come in. Ross has built an incredible Twitter following and has built so much of his brand on Twitter. I've heard him. He's talked to me about it on the phone and on Skype several times. Very inspiring story. I thought maybe he could share a little bit of his tips as far as Twitter content, because his content is spot on.
Hey there. I had to zoom into that good hair. No, I was just moving my monitor. Everybody.
Great to see you.
Okay, there we go. I got it set up. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. So
what's up?
I was telling Lucy that you told me you guys are in the same fantasy football league. That's great.
It's the Star Tech support.
You.
What's up, Rob?
You made my day.
That's amazing.
So talk to us a little bit, Ross, about specifically your Twitter content strategy. You tweet excellent content. You have very good Twitter engagement. You have built a huge following, but it's not just a following. It's more than that. These are engaged followers who are paying attention to your content. I know you've been able to build your brand on that specific social network. It's a great story. So if you would just take 5 minutes here and just tell us that story so that people can kind of get some ideas and learn from that.
First of all, I love Twitter. There's no question Twitter, like one of my first tweets was, I think Twitter's going to change my life. And at that point, I had all of it, 30 followers, or probably not, right? And
I have on my Twitter shirt from Atlanta.
So here's the thing, and I knew it for one reason. I understand when I look at things, I see how they work. I see the functions and the patterns and the mechanics. And when you look past the surface, it changes the way you use the platform. And I think, going to earlier, one of the comments was, I don't know if I'm learning anything or something. Someone made a comment, and I couldn't tell if they were kind of trolling or if they were just like, one of those hustle snap finger guys that just, you got to give it to them in the first 12 seconds or their brain can't sit still for a second. I don't know. But part of the thing that I said in reply to that is that you have to have patience and you have to listen and you have to go beyond the surface. Like if you want shallow learning, you'll look for tactics. You'll look for an article, 3 buttons pressed to get XYZ. Everyone always asks me, what tools do you use? Well, I might use similar tools that they use. It's not just the tools. It's how you use them. There's actual strategy. There's actual layers. There's a difference between pressing these buttons and pressing those buttons. And when you do it, like you said, in time, you could be actually sending out the same content at the wrong time and getting a different result and going, this is garbage. This isn't working. No, it's not garbage. Even maybe your content is great, but you're missing one key kind of hinge point and catalyst for your success. So you have to pay attention, and you have to try and, not only through the A/B testing and good tools that kind of vet stuff for you and give you data, but then you have to experiment and you have to find out what really works. And when you find that, it's not something that someone can just go, oh, great, I'm going to read these 3 bullet points and I'm going to be a social media superstar. Businesses, I'm sorry to break the bubble here, but businesses, success, people who are champions, they didn't get there 3 seconds ago before you showed up. They got there because they're smart. They put in the work. They're building it. They do things differently than everybody else. And so one thing is finding those different things and implementing them, but it's just not a 3-second success rule. So you've got to dig in and you've got to figure out, okay, do I actually understand how the hell this thing's working? So back that thing up for a second. what we have is when I was talking about the structure, the reason why I tweeted out that I thought it would change my life is because I saw that it could do one thing that I hadn't had in my life before, which is it could let me sit down at the table with people I had no business sitting down with. I could sit at the table between a CEO and some smart, guy, and they could be having a conversation. I could hop in and give my 2 cents, right? I can't walk down to Silicon Valley. Yeah, exactly. This is exactly it. I couldn't walk into Silicon Valley and sit down, in the boardroom with someone who didn't invite me and just say, hey, here's what I think. And they'd be like, who the hell are you? Security, right? But on Twitter, you can do that.
Exactly. I know exactly what you mean. I remember back in like 2011-ish, Mark Hamill retweeted a post that I wrote about Star Wars.
Oh, you did that to me
this
too.
day.
That was awesome.
To this day, whenever somebody says, what is your biggest highlight on Twitter? That is it, hands down.
Luke Skywalker retweeted me. Come on.
So I'm just saying, you are absolutely right that if you are tweeting that content that is resonating with people, if your name is getting out there, you are going to attract the attention of people who, like you said, Ross, you would never have the opportunity to meet. Regardless, they could be anywhere in the world.
In real time. I can be sitting on someone's phone in a boardroom at IBM with the CMO or something, and then simultaneously in Australia with someone who's head of a marketing department there, and we can be engaging. They could be gaining value from something, and that can open up opportunities for me. Like, that does not exist in the natural world. It just doesn't exist. So the reason why people aren't leveraging that, this is more than putting up a post about, how you can do this or how you can do that. Everything has to be understood that way, that even when you're writing content and you're by yourself, you have the ability to sit there and be changing people's thoughts, growing opportunities for your business, making sales, building relationships, spreading influence in 1 second when they read that simultaneously across there. When you hit the retweet button, stuff can happen. Major things. Right. You can have major contracts, major contracts happen because of this. And so people are like, oh, well, how do you sell? I want to sell my widget or my, $19. Like, it goes it's beyond that. You got to open up and think a little bit bigger about Twitter. And if you do that, and then you start to say, well, what are these tactics that I need to backfill in to accomplish some of this, to make it a little easier? It doesn't seem, here's the tricky part about Twitter. It doesn't seem, right? People, when it came out, they're like, why do I want to say one sentence? Like, this is stupid. And people are like, oh, I'm going to lunch, and really that was like, nobody cares. Okay, so stop doing it. But you know what? But the thing is that what you realize is that you have to be able, it goes back to that comment about the person before, oh, I'm not learning anything. Well, you got to open up your eyes, plug your brain in, and you got to be able to see in depth. You got to look past what you're reading, what you're hearing, and say, oh, wait, you're not telling me that key to success. No, listen, this is an environment. You got to immerse yourself in the ecosystem and breathe in all of these things. And when you start to implement, I'm a big one for, look at that. I messed up my focus. I'm a big one for micro strategies. And so it's all the little things that you're doing right that add up to a big result. And then people want you to point to one thing that changed everything. It isn't. It's 100 little things that changed everything. It is. That I did consistently.
Yep. And there's one thing that you said and that Lucy said, and I think Rob said this too. So I would like to reiterate this for everybody here. And that is that, the topic of this blab is your Twitter content strategy. But no matter how great your content is, if you're not making those connections with people, what's it for, right?
And your content connects. Yeah.
You got to look at it like it's not just content it's not just faceless internet and just an article. There's like a real person behind that. And once you get past that, you connect to, the real person behind it. Like Ross was saying, like awesome things could happen. You will find yourself talking face to face with that, you know, CEO in Silicon Valley, or like I put an article on Medium that was like Star Wars oriented, you know, and I was just writing a thing for my daughter to get her like out of her comfort zone and to like go out and start looking for a job in a field that's not McDonald's, right? And like all of a sudden, like this thing's getting circulated, and I think maybe just because of the hashtag I put on there or something, like Peter Mayhew's like retweeting it. And I'm talking to him. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's freaking Chewbacca. It's like when I was a kid. The guy on the screen is now talking to me. It's just, it's mind blowing.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Well, he just.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said. Holy God, oh no.
So,
But that's the thing, like,
plan, Anna.
it's so true too. Like, it's like, that's the thing, like that person that said, I'm not learning anything. And that's like so great about Twitter too, is that's very well might be okay. Maybe you're not in the right place, but that's the thing about Twitter is then there's somewhere else, and there's another community that you can go and look at, and maybe they're the ones that are going to speak to you. And for content marketers, it's, am I writing the right content for those people? You know, for the people that think that want to be there, is this the right message for them? And if they're saying that back to me, that's the best feedback. That's a way better feedback than, hey, loved your article. Because then I know what's okay, that didn't resonate, but you do still want to be here. So how can I resonate with you?
And plus, like, what is the best format to connect with the audience? You know, some people might read an article, some people love the infographic, you know, and so then it's a great opportunity to take the content you've already developed and then develop a new medium.
Oh, Rob,
Ciao.
that is what, okay, next Thursday, that's the topic of our blab. It was supposed to be secret, but Rob is obviously reading my mind. We are going to be talking about how to repurpose your tweet, your single tweet, like a bazillion different ways. Because you are right, Rob. People learn different ways. People want to see different kinds of content. And that's one thing that we always talk about at Post Planner is mixing it up. Mix up that content, you know, change it up. You want to keep people engaged, and you don't want them to get bored, right? You don't want them to be like, ugh. You want to keep them like, what's going to show up on that Twitter page next? This is awesome. Think about that. Put yourself in the head, in the mind of your followers. What do they want to see? What do they want to read, right?
Yeah, and I think
so
repackaging, even
say,
beyond just repurposing, repackaging matters because. Okay. Go ahead. We are simultaneous.
Gotta let the hair talk, buddy.
Go ahead. I would say
that
repurposing
I was just going to finish that point. Oh, how we did it again. Oh, my gosh. You go. I absolutely recommend it.
Go ahead, Lucy. Ladies first.
I give up. I give in.
You're first, Lucy. Ladies first.
Ladies first. I love it. I would say that repurposing content is the closest you can come to that whole thing of you can't be everything to everyone. But repurposing kind of allows you to sneak in and kind of be that way, because you can use, like you said, you know, video is like the biggest thing ever, right? Like everyone, video.
Right.
I don't like videos personally. So to me, repurpose your video into a transcript or something I can read, and that speaks to me. But it can be the exact same piece of content, the same information.
Exactly. You are so right about that. And video is huge, and there's so many ways to repurpose a video, right?
And sometimes
so many ways.
And sometimes the thing is, and I think we were thinking of a similar point. Sometimes the thing is like, yeah, you might say, hey, I don't like video, and it's like, so what we do is sometimes we like, oh, I like writing, oh, I like video, but you know what? There's people on the receiving end who go, you know what? I love you, but I love video, and I want you in video, right? I mean, how many times do we go to the store or we go to a restaurant and we're like, I love this, but I wish they would do it this way, or I wish they would put this stuff over here. I mean, when we think about this, it's really like understanding the comment box, right? Because when we start to follow the data and we look at how people want, we can say, hey, my core competency is writing blog posts. But you know what? Even though I don't like this, I'm going to throw in some videos, or I'm going to do some images and some stills and make a video slideshow, or do something. Find a way to blend it, right? Because you can blend between like a slide share and like, okay, I can take text, but I can make it look like a video. And so when you do this and you re-chew up that content and spit it out, you're enabling that person to say, hey, I'm going to absorb you the way I want. I'm over here. I want to listen to you. But you know what? You don't want to change as the content creator, but the content consumer is the least likely to change. So it's most likely for us, we're going to have to, put it out there in like 4 or 5 formats.
And that's the thing. Like, who cares if I don't like watching video? That doesn't mean anything ever, except in my personal little room on how it's about how you want to get my content. So who cares what I think personally?
Right.
No one cares how I consume content when I'm writing content, And I don't care. I don't not like making video.
Yeah, you gotta think about the
as
user.
a content creator. I love it. And I love different mediums, or I wouldn't be doing this.
The customer is always right,
I think.
And in this case, it's the reader. They're always right in the fact that, people go, Snapchat, what is this stupid thing? Blah, blah. I'm sorry. The reason you have to care about it, the reason you have to care what 13-year-old girls in high school what apps they're using, right? I'm writing a blog post about this, is because the fact that when there becomes millions of people and that impacts other millions of people, then you've got millions upon millions of people. And if they want to consume someplace and you're not there, you're just not, that's a whole new audience. If you don't do video and all of a sudden, let's say you just do a podcast or you just do this, when you go to video, your audience is still there that is video consumers who would love you. They're there untapped, unrealized. And so when you go into that marketplace, it's like a business going into an international market. It's like, great. Oh, you like our burgers? Well, great. Now you can get our burgers in Taiwan. Well, you didn't have our burgers before, and as many people over here like them, there's a percentage of that population that's going to like them. And you know what? There's probably actually here's the strategic as a strategist at heart. The strategic reason why it's important for you to get out of your comfort zone when it comes to that is because your competition is as slow as you are. They don't want to do video either. Cool. So now there's like only, say 100 competitors instead of 10,000 competitors. So just get on over there and get doing video, because you're actually going to have a more ripe market over there than you are in your current market where you're already getting success. So have bigger success doing things that you're not currently doing,
So here's a question. How do you, without putting too many speed bumps in the road and being obnoxious about it, how do you, whether it's have an information capture forum when you introduce new content so that you can get, that information about the people that are consuming the content, and then hopefully remarket to them and continue to give them the stuff that they want through a nurture campaign or whatever it is, when you introduce a new content or even on a new platform. What do you guys think is the best way?
Do you want to speak to that, Lucy, or do you want me to?
I don't know that I understood the question.
He's asking about inbound marketing, which is what we do at Post Planner. And we do create landing pages and capture that information about people. We create what we think is very high value content, right? It's content that is specifically tailored for that audience to help them and to really solve problems with things that they're struggling with on social media. And then, yes, we are able to nurture those leads. That's one way strategy to get people from social media over to your website, right? And then you nurture them. You never take advantage of somebody's email address. Right. Very respectfully nurture them with more high value content. And then eventually when that person thinks, wow, I really need a social media marketing app. You know what? These people who have been sending me emails send really good stuff. Let me look into Post Planner. And then boom. Works very well. Works very well.
I think you just have to be careful that you don't cross that line of being obnoxious.
Yeah. We've all gotten them.
That kid in the first row of the classroom,
we've all gotten those emails. And, what do? We go to the bottom and click unsubscribe. So it's all about the respect and building trust. It's so critical. So anyway, I want to, speaking of respect, I want to respect everybody's time on here. I first of all want to thank everybody for coming, because I see Azur here from Constant Contact. She said she's on the treadmill at the treadmill desk at Constant Contact listening. I saw Nika Stewart in here. Nika is so special to us. Nika, we love you. You got Rob, Ross, Josh in here. I mean, just so many amazing friends have come here today. One of you guys I need to kick you out of that seat, because we got to put our infographic with 42
I can go.
engaging tweet topics. No, you're the special guest. You can't go. You got to stay here. You're not going anywhere. All right. One of you guys have got to go. Oh, it's Ross. Okay. Leanne, would you please put our infographic back in there? So let me explain to you what this is real quick before we leave. This is our infographic that we put together with 42 things to share on Twitter to get more followers. And like I said, we really put our heart and soul into this infographic. And the idea is that you get this. So now you've got 42 Twitter topics, because you want to put together your content strategy, right? So you just start at the top and you go down the list, and there's going to be so many things in there that you never even thought about tweeting about before. So it's going to blow your mind. We have tested this content. I've put it on my page. We've put it on Post Planner page. We've checked the analytics. This is good stuff. So get it. So you go down the list, you tweet these things, then the next step 2, check your analytics, see which ones worked, which ones resonated, which ones not so much, which ones, people responded to and retweeted. That is content that resonates with your audience. That is the content you're going to put into that regular content strategy. And you're going to, rinse and repeat until you're able to really get that Twitter engagement up and get some mojo going. Lucy, thank you for being here. Do you have any last words? This has been so much fun. And, we're going to post the replay for this on YouTube. And I'm so excited, because I'm going to watch it over and over, and I'm going to send it to all my friends and say, this is my friend Lucy. I finally got to talk to her. So do you have any last words for our audience here about putting together a Twitter content strategy that works? We want to hear maybe your number one tip, your last magic words that are going to make the real difference here. What do you?
My number one thing is come to us anytime and ask questions. Run things by people.
Yes.
Find the people that are doing it that you can ask questions of. You were more than willing to help me every time I threw out a question to you after I first met you. I'm so happy to tweet at any time, see, and it's just jump in, don't be afraid of putting together your strategy, but don't start anything without a strategy.
That is very good advice. I would completely agree with you. And I just took a screenshot to save memories. I'm going to put it on Twitter. That was a very good tip. Yes, always ask people for help, for advice. Again, put yourself out there. Just be honest. It's okay to feel that vulnerable feeling. What if they're not going to answer? Just put it out there. Rob, do you have any last tip that you would like to give everyone here about putting together their Twitter content strategy?
I would say just, identify what people talk to you about, because that's obviously where you're going to find what they want to know. And then, whether it's tagging different people in your organization who are experts on that, or maybe you're an expert on it yourself, but, build a team, internal or otherwise, to develop the content.
That's great advice.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it. And you have done a phenomenal job with that. And the reason that I know that, the proof in that, is that I know you on Twitter and I have a relationship with you, and you are in the auto industry. I love Star Wars. And somehow our worlds have collided through Twitter. Like Ross was saying, there's just, no other place that could happen in the whole world. I see Jed Record is here. Jed, hello. So great to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone. Don't forget, get our infographic. You're going to love it. 42 things to share on Twitter to get more followers, and tons of ideas to keep your Twitter page buzzing for over a month. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Lucy. This has been so special. And we will see you all again. We will be on Blab next Tuesday. I think I said Thursday before, and that was a mistake. It's Tuesday, which is just a couple days from now. We will be talking about how to repurpose your tweets into multiple pieces of content. So I'm excited about that one. And thank you guys for coming. Thank you, everyone who's here. Thank you. And thank you, Ross.
Bye, guys.
Ross, thank you. Bye, Lucy. Bye, Rob.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.